Well, good morning, everybody. The rain has stopped and we're about to get some outside work done here. I've been working maybe 3 or 4 days inside the shop there, kind of putting some things together, which I'll talk about here in just a second. But finally the rain has ceased and everything is muddy out here, and it's just a slip and slide fest out here right now. So but let me show you some of the things. We're out here going to work on the water lines and stuff. So I've been putting these together here. Hopefully you guys can see that there. Basically just has a valve. It's got, so each cabin is going to have access. I'll be able to access water with a water hose connector that's on the end of this valve here. So this valve is pretty interesting, just in the sense that it kind of does two things. I'll be able to cut the water off to the cabin, and then I'll also be able to redirect that water to the water hose connector that's on the end of it there. So I'll have water access outside of each cabin in case I have to spray something off or anything like that. And then this big large T connector here, this is a hydrant T is what it's called. So this is a 1 inch on this side, 1 inch on this side over here, and then down to a 3/4 inch. That's that gold piece that's sitting there. And that is a PEX A part. So you see I've got PEX connecting the valve with the hydrant T that brings water down the line. So this setup here is what's going to go on cabin 1, 2, and 3 right now. 4 and 5, still got a long way to go with those. So they're not quite as complete. Basically how these are going to look here at 4 and 5 are just like this. I'm going to connect the water, because the water obviously has to run through, and that's through this T part of it here, that upper part. And then I just capped off the bottom part here with just a cap. So there's no reason to shut any water off to it right now. Those valves, those kind of two-purpose valves in there, not cheap. I think they're around $25 a piece. So I can put that, what would be $50 total, towards something else here that I need more immediately. So 4 and 5 will be put together like this. And I'm up here, you can probably tell from behind me, I'm kind of up on top of the hill here a little bit. Right behind you guys is the cistern. So this is actually where I'm going to put in a connection for cabin 5. So this is going to be the first one. I've got to dig things out. I've got my valve control boxes set up. So they're going to be, all the valves and everything are going to be inside those boxes, easy to access. I went with a rather large box just because, I mean, they weren't that much more as far as purchasing them than they were kind of like a small, like 6-inch round access point. These are, I think they're, I don't know, 14 by 19. It's a fairly large size. You'll see it here once we start to get to work. So I'm basically going to dig out the place for the box, put the box down in the hole. Well, I'll probably make the connections first and then put the box down over that. I'm going to line the bottom of it with some Tyvek just to kind of keep it a little nicer in the bottom of it. I don't know if that's going to last or anything, but we'll see. And then we can actually start covering up the trench that runs all the way down to the side of cabin 1. So let me get you guys set up here so we can start digging. Here we go. All right, guys, got this first one kind of dug out here. Really, if you look at the kind of the line of the pipe here, I'm really cleaning out like more just on this side of the pipe in the trench, just because of how I want the boxes laid out. So now these boxes are designed to be modified, so I cut out holes in the kind of the back third as we're looking at it here. So instead of going through the middle where the holes were you know, upon delivery. I just used my jigsaw and kind of modified a little bit. So I just wanted to show you how and why I kind of did it this way. So I've got 4 things in my hand here. I'm trying to jumble around. So now again, we're at cabin 5 here, so this is going to get the not complete set. But this set here, this is what's going to eventually be here. So as this sits in here, I want it to kind of be on the left side of the box, and I want to leave enough room here to the front where my hand is holding it up or dropping it in order to get a hose in there. Again, the size of this box is larger than really what's required, but I like having that extra room in there. So this is basically how it's going to be set up for each of them. So as I said before, if you remember, cabin 5 is just going to have this partially finished one. So we're going to set this one in just about like right here. I'm going to pull the box out because it's going to make it easier for me to kind of fiddle with the hose or the pipe and kind of get that heated and kind of set up. So I'm going to mark where I'm going to cut the pipe, pull the box out, cut it. Probably cut a little bit. If you look at these hydrant tees here, if I cut out about 1 inch of it, I won't have to pull or move that hose very much to get the sides to come in. So along with those, you also need clamps on each side of the pipe. So I use these. This is a continuous, they call it a continuous tension clamp. They're a little bit more expensive than your regular pipe clamps, but I use these all the time on the bus for different things, different hoses and whatnot, and they work great. They seem to certainly be a higher quality than a regular pipe clamp. You'll get it like AutoZone or Napa or anything like that. So these are what I use. So one will go on each side, and then we'll tighten those down and we'll move on to the next cabin. So let's get moving. All right, guys, got cabin 5 finished here. We get in here, take a look. Connection went just fine. Heating that pipe up is definitely the way to go. It definitely just allows that pipe to kind of expand a little bit. If you weren't heating it, I don't know how you would get those joints in because that pipe is pretty stiff. But so I've got a little Tyvek in the bottom of it just to kind of keep it, I don't know, neat, I guess. I don't know. And that's kind of how that's going to go. So you can see it's fairly, this will be like at like surface level. Didn't really want to bury them, you know, but it'll be at surface level. So, you know, I'm not driving over with the 4-wheeler and hitting a bump or anything. I'll just ride right over it. These boxes can hold up just fine to all that. So this is cabin 5 in the books. I got 4 more to go as we work on down the line. All right, well, I'm just finishing up here at cabin 5, the water access here. So I went ahead and kind of filled in the trench all the way back up there to the pump house. So this is kind of like the final product. I do have some left over here. I do need small amounts of dirt, kind of other places, so I'll just leave them there and I'll take care of that this afternoon. But basically that's it. This is where, you know, obviously water access to cabin 5, future home of cabin 5. It's off of my main way I get down the hill with the 4-wheeler. It's going to be back behind the cabin. I don't think it'll have any problem with leaving it right here. So yeah, everything looks great. So I do have a fairly good run still of exposed trench on down there to cabin 4 area. You can kind of see the box, the irrigation valve box that's down there. That's about where that's going to go for cabin 4. So I'll probably fill in a good bit of this. I think I only need maybe about 10 foot on each side of where the box is going to go, just so I can manipulate the pipe a little bit. This first time I've ever done this, so this is it was good to see kind of how really easy it all kind of went together without having to pull or push the pipe or anything. Just cut off what you need and make it happen. So I'm gonna get going on that, fill in some of this here, and then get back to work. Well, I'm down here next to cabin 3, and this area here between these two trees, there's a potential for this to be a thoroughfare in the future, because this runs back down along this kind of, it's for the electric company. It's just kind of an easement, a roadway that is there. Because there are power lines on a different part of the property that they have to access, and that's kind of how they do that. But that driveway or that accessway has been there since we've been here. And in fact, when we moved in, I did a lot of clearing. They hadn't been down the access point for years. There were all sorts of trees across it anyway. I don't know if I covered that in a way early video, but anyway, so because the water line, it's not down super far, I'm going to put it in conduit through this kind of passageway through here to protect it somewhat. So I got some Schedule 40 here, some stuff that was left over. I've got a short pipe of Schedule 80 that's over here as well. I might put that on the end because there's a little bit of a curve right here. So I'm gonna put that there on the end. That's, I think that's 2-inch, that 80. And then this is all 1.5 inches. And then I do have some more. I just want to protect this as best I can for, you know, future usage and stuff like that. Don't anticipate any problems or anything like that. This is 160 PSI polyethylene pipe. So like I said, crushing it, especially when it's pressurized full of water, it's not really an easy thing to do, especially if there's just like small vehicle traffic back here. So I'm going to work on that. So how I'm going to access or put that conduit on the pipe, like I said, I'm down here by cabin 3. My water access or water shutoff for cabin 3 is going to be right over there. So I'm going to cut the pipe, pull the pipe up out of the ground because the trench is still exposed, and then I'm going to just slide it on and put it kind of where I think I need it the most. So yeah, so I'll get that done here and I'll show you how it kind of ends up. All right, gang, that really didn't take too long here. The end of this is the cut that is for cabin 3. It's going to be over in that area there. That conduit really just slid right up on there. No issues whatsoever. The 1.5 inch was great. I mean, it's got, I mean, that's a 1-inch poly pipe, so it fit. The fit was perfect. So came up through along here that actually fit inside of the larger, that schedule 80 I had left over right there. So really, and then just up here's the end of it. That's going to be out of the, basically the driving, the alleyway here for it. This may only be pedestrian traffic at some point, but it very well could be, you know, motorized as well. So that, I mean, that literally took about 2 minutes here. So I'm gonna get the pipe back into the trench here and then start working on cabin 3 connection, and then I'll come back and I'll fill in all of this trench all the way back up there to where we connected for cabin 4, kind of up in that area. All right, guys, we are wrapping it up here for the day. Super happy with how the day kind of turned out. Let's take a look back up here in front of cabin 2. All the trenches filled in. This is cabin 2's water access. A little bit, I just finished up my last connection down here for cabin 1, and I've just got this little bit here to fill in. So cabin 1's a bit different because it is the end of the line. I didn't use a T. I actually just used an elbow for my connection. So again, this is water cutoff for cabin 1, and then this will be the low water point here. Again, this is a garden hose adapter that's on here. So if I shut off water to cabin 1, that's now sending the water this direction, and if I flip this bottom valve around, again, it's like every valve, this shows water flowing out. So that's how I will drain the system at the end of the year, out this valve here. And so there was no T, there was no need for any T right here. So just had that elbow. Got a little warm. I don't know if you can make it out here, but I got a little warm on the back side of the tube or the pipe. And when I went to push my barb fitting in there, it bent the hose, or bent the tube or the pipe, and well, we had to make it work. I had already cut it, so I couldn't go back. I couldn't cut it and continue to go back. Otherwise, I would have had to have gotten a coupler and extended the length of it. We didn't want to have to deal with anything like that. So I'm going to fill in this last part of the trench that's right here, and that is, we're going to call it quits for the water, at least for getting down to the cabins. I've got some good progress on the pump house up by the cistern up there. I really crammed it out quite a bit before Christmas there and got quite a bit done. So while we were out doing holiday stuff, I got the filter system in, and that's somewhat installed up there. I'm waiting on a few parts. Just some, it's one of these things, you know, there's 15 different ways to do it, and I think I've got a good process down now. So waiting for 1 or 2 more things. I think they're coming in this week. We're going to finish up the pump house, and then we've got cold weather coming in here, start of the new year. So I think that's when I'm going to start tackling some of the floor and the trim in cabins 1 and 3. So we'll kind of play that by ear. So, but yeah, a little more work to do today. I don't know if you can hear my voice. I've been fighting this weird, I don't know, a chest cold type thing. I've been hawking up green stuff. It's been delightful. So yeah, but doing little things, even just walking up the hill and getting up to the house and doing whatever, it saps my energy, and I'm gasping for air. It's really been a pain in the butt, but I'm on the mend now, so I'm on the other side of it, and I'm looking forward to being back 100%, especially if it's going to be cold. Just that little extra motivation to get down here and get some stuff done. So that's it, guys. Water. It was a great month of December. Septic, water. I mean, really just starting to put lipstick on stuff now, so making it look pretty. We're making it happen. All right, guys, we'll see you next year.